Yeah, welcome back. Good to be back in after a victory Sunday and back in a victory Monday. Now in a bye week in week 2, so that's a little different. But first game was fun, man. Really fun. It was great just to be back at home with our fans, with the students, with the athletic department, with admin, with families, with recruits on the sidelines, in a full season 2, man. To get that place rocking and rolling off the bat was really fun. I think it meant a lot to our guys. It means a lot to the city. It means a lot to us. The text and excitement from everybody around town after the game was really cool to see. It's exciting, man. I'm just excited to be a part of it because it makes for all we do and all the efforts we put forth and all the belief we have in this place and all the hard work we're putting into it and spilling into it, man. It means a lot, and it means a lot to our guys, it means a lot to us, it means a lot to our families, it means a lot to you guys and the people here who've put a lot of time and effort into this, and to see guys go out and compete that way was really exciting. I think it's a good first step in a long season. And I think there's a lot of things that we saw in the game that we'd hoped would be part of it. Seen some stuff in training camp, seen some stuff from recruits, seen some stuff in off-season training that you'd hope would come out on a Saturday. And there's also some stuff that we get excited about fixing. I know I'm probably a sicko with that, but I ran right back in here and had 4 or 5 things on little subtle details that I thought, oh man, we can do a little better here. Hey, if we do this there, if that was there, if I go to coach that a little bit better there, maybe one I could say that different in that one. Or I love that piece of it because that means there's some stuff left out there and guys can come back and be excited about improving. To play that first half the way we did with a lot of those guys and be able to pull most of those guys out and get a lot of new blood in there in the second half too to kind of see where the roster's at is exciting. We said that before the game. It was going to be cool if we could get some guys in there to see what we got and what our depth looks like and get some guys some experience. And we did that. I think to be at 45 points in the first half, we had to be +1 in the turnover category was a big deal. Offensive efficiency on first down, second down, third down, red zone. We got a 2-minute drive in there. We had a 4-minute at the end. We had a middle 8 scoring situation we talked about. The defensive efficiency in stopping the run, the 5 sacks and interception, the third downs. We talk about explosive plays all the time and the percentages, and we look at all this into our rubric we've got that we look back at each game to have be 20% explosive and have them be only 4% explosive. There's a lot of predicates to winning when you hammer out a lot of those things. But special teams did a nice job. We had a block punt, was awesome. We had punting was good. Marshall thought he did a really nice job for the first time. We're a little anxious, but I think we've got a special guy there with some time too, with some years. Coverage looked good. We had explosive return. Field position, we won that. That's a big deal. We talked about that early. I remember we talked about the training camp a little about field position. We talked about some guys in the conference that kind of dictated the change of their season and some of that. PAT and field goal was the GOAT and was automatic. It was good. Overall, I think that's what we work for. Trying to build a mindset around football that wins. But then you saw some elements of togetherness. You saw. My favorite play I talked about for 5 minutes yesterday with the team was the goal line push in the end zone on Kyle's play. I literally spent 5 minutes on it. And it just was such a resounding, it gives me goosebumps still thinking about it, a resounding feel for our team because the way that it happened organically, we watched the film, I rewound it, I probably broke the film. I rewound it 50 times to watch guys change gear from the play, just turn, Preston has a different speed when he saw he could impact that play and get there. And he weighs 300 pounds. Give me a break. That was a lot of energy. All those guys, there's belly flops from Tiger in that play and Leaf and the flex afterwards. I know there's gamemanship there, but that wasn't to taunt. They were excited to be together. And man, that fires me up. So a couple things to clean up. We had some penalties I want to clean up, and then Doug being named Mountain West Player of the week was pretty cool. So a lot of stuff there I think was good. We go into a bye week now to stay kind of, it's good and bad. You get a chance to collect your breath, but you like the rhythm sometimes. You step back and pause a minute. But to get ready for a Pac-12 road game next week, the following week, I should say, is exciting. So a lot of good stuff. Sorry for the diatribe.
Coach, you had some coaching changes this offseason to some key positions. Can you talk about what the new coordinators have brought to the table and a little bit schematically that's different than last year?
Schematically, there's some changes. Let's talk on offense first because that's easiest. Obviously, I think the thing that sticks out with Nick being here when we first met was the ability we were going to be able to communicate quickly about football, because there's so much stuff about football that you have to get to before you get to coach your to get insulated in the program and go, okay, what do you guys do? We were able to do that right away because I didn't have to ask him about protection. Hey, what'd you call formations? Hey, how do you beat cover 3? What do you think about footwork in the quarterback? Like that guy's been a part of that growth for so long at a high level. All we did was flip a couple words like, hey, this is this to us. Oh, got it. Okay, this is this to that. Got it. I mean, 10 years in the NFL. That ability to communicate fast and that trust was huge. Then it goes to Keith. With Keith, the trust of having coached with him for 3 years, knowing who he is, knowing him as a man, knowing him as a husband and a father, and then as a coach, there wasn't any questions about what I knew I was getting from him as a person. And then coaching-wise, I've seen him do it. I've seen what he can do. Had he called plays and been coordinated? No, but I saw him on the inner workings of what we did up there to change over a defense. And you inherently, when you're in that room, when that happens, you are all part of it. Like you're all coming up with, hey, what'd you call this? How we do that? I saw that intimately when they did it from the exact same defense we were running to this one. So it was real fortunate, but it went from the exact same thing to this. That's exactly what we did. So got lucky in that regard to know him as a person and know what he's able to do and to have the seamless transition with both those guys and the trust that they are going to get their job done and work diligently at a really high level.
Coach, I wanted to ask you about blocking and what we saw from the wide receivers, blocking downfield, and then the running backs. Were you satisfied with them and the way that they blocked in pass pro? And then also we saw that big play and the pulling left guard and Brandon Logan.
B. Logan.
That we saw. Like, were you happy? Were you pleased with the execution and the blocking from every direction?
Yeah, I think the to get right to that point, the first piece you added there, the wide receiver blocking, is something sometimes goes unmentioned because there's not a lot of stats for it, right? And we like that stuff. We talk about it. We talk about some of the stuff like that where there's no stats for it. It's like the old pick and roll stat, right? Like how many times did Carl really pick for John Stockton? Well, there's no stat for it, but they were pretty dang good, right? And so it's like, hey, who's the pick guy? Like you're not going to get it. There's no stat column for it. So where's the effort blocking by the receiver? And we really emphasize that. We show it to the group because it's the unknown. Same thing we do with the O-line. I mean, you don't go 21 to 25 or 3 to 6 4 touchdowns and not have it protected. Protection was improved. Like the protection was better. They communicated well. The O-line there's no protection, pluses in a stat line. But the receiver blocking outside is effort. It's discipline. It's commitment to the whole team because it's not sexy sometimes, but they like it now. They get it. Like they understand because we highlight it so much that guys like Ricky and Kyle and Jeff, they're coming from the backside like heat-seeking missiles because what we try to do, one of the things we talk about is get in the frame. Like when we pause the picture on the back end clip, are all 11 guys in the picture when we get to when the ball's shown at the end of the play. That means that the backside guy got in the camera. And so there's a ton of those clips because our guys have that type of mindset right now. And you saw that come up. I mean, to have Belo out in space and running like that, I mean, you probably couldn't hear where you were at, but like the sidelines were yelling Belo as he's running down the field. Like the whole sideline, Belo! He didn't have the ball. I'm like, what are you guys yelling at? And I see him out front. I'm like, oh, here we go. Big dog. All right. But dude, that was awesome, man. I mean, that's just effort. It is. It's effort. And it takes zero talent. It takes zero talent for effort. It's one of our deals. Zero talent. It's strictly competitiveness and a heart for doing something that's above the line.
Now, Coach, what did you say to Doug after the game? What kind of conversations have you had with Doug this weekend?
I was proud of him. I was proud of the way he played. You got to do. I've done a better job in my career in game and after game of pulling back from the task orientedness of the position because it's always so particular and so high level, high stakes. You're so used to going, oh, on this we could have had that, on that one footwork there, your eye control on this play. That stuff was really good, but there was other things like just his demeanor. There was a couple plays he didn't like, and there was some things we screwed up, and he didn't get in the tank about it. He matured. He was excited to play. You could see that he was eager to do really well. He made some stuff. He did some things on the field without giving stuff away that like were on him, like checks and packages. Like we have a ton of those now. Like if there was a microphone in our headset, that's how we operate. That's how the systems run now. It's like 2 or 3 plays sometimes, and he's got to be able to dictate it based on looks. It's called like a headset offense now. It's like kind of like we're going to let you have control of it. He does a lot of that. He did a lot of that. I was really proud of him to see that growth, and he did. And he played really well. He played with passion. He was excited. I mean, he's celebrating his guys. You get guys smiling on the field. It's a good deal. Now you're smiling because it was 45 points in the first half and you're on fire. Now the next step is, can we own that when it gets a little crunchy and frictiony and hard, and we got to come back and do it. What's our demeanor like then? So, and then we went through a couple things that we thought, hey, talk me through this, because the first thing I got to do is I got to ask him why he did something, not so much, hey, you didn't do it right, because I got to figure out if I told him right. Like that, is that on me? Did you not understand me? And there's a couple things that I found out last night just in thinking through it a ton, where I'm gonna go, okay, I'm gonna change the way I word that a little bit. Like I didn't do a good enough job there. Like I may have clouded your thoughts on how to do it, or I didn't ask you, hey, do you get it? I just told you, like, yeah, okay, well, that's not the way you teach. So, but I thought you did a great job. We had some really good dialogue that's gonna, I think, continue to make us closer, all of us.
Coach, in your opening statement, you mentioned the word excitement a lot. You guys are very excited, and obviously coming off of such a big blowout win. What's like the message to this team to kind of stay on an even keel, even though there is like this very early bye week? So what type of message are you giving the team to stay on the right path?
Well, I said this afterwards. I think in the press conference was I want to make sure they do enjoy it, because there's a ton of pressure. There's a ton of high stakes in this business now with these kids, and they get a ton of pressure put on them to enjoy something that's that good. And they did do a good job. They played well together. They did that. There's enough afterwards, like yesterday in the meetings, where we can bring them back down to earth. I think that there was enough in there where we can say, hey, okay, now we got away with one here, or hey, if this happened somewhere else, or this happened in this look, and you weren't ready for that, that might get you. Did you know that? No, I missed that one. But so there's plenty to go back and go, yeah, okay, there's a couple things here and there. It's hard to pick a game like that apart from that. I mean, pretty good. There's a couple things, but there's enough in there for our guys to be grounded. They're mature enough. They know that we're going to speak them authentically and open about how to get better, and we're gonna own it too. They came back in with we had 6 to 8 guys in here at 8 p.m. on Saturday after the game catching jugs, and then they were back out here. They beat me to work on Sunday. I was here at 5:30. These guys are out on the field catching jugs. So I probably have to kick them out here once in a while. They got a really good mindset going right now, and I'm not going to stop it.
Speaking of mindset, second half, you're up by so much and you can't get what you had. Can you walk me through the process of when you take the foot off the gas pedal a little bit and you say, okay, let me go and get Harrison and Camps and run some of the guys on the 2s and 3s?
That's a really good question, because I in the moment there's a balance there, because we need reps too. I got a bunch of guys that are new. You don't want to get guys injured, that have done a nice job. How fast do you take out Ricky, Kyle, Jeff, Doug, Leaf, guys that have done, to see what you got next and still be able to say you got enough game reps on a Saturday to where you guys are feeling each other. So I think I erred on the fact where I felt like we wanted to get these next guys more reps. We knew there were certain guys we get in the game. Harrison would get in there. We felt like we've seen enough from Ricky and Jeff and Kyle, where now we want to see Seneca, and I want to see how Ziel's grown up, and I want to see how Souders. I want to see Nick Williams. Nick Williams has been, kind of just getting in the fold. And that was a collective effort in the headset. Hey, who do we think about? What do we want to do here? Let's talk about it at halftime, circle some names, talk about some things, and then let's roll. Maybe it's keep Leaf in for one more drive, keep the 1-0 line in there. Let's see what we can do with Harrison with the 1-0 line and see how that feels. And then get some new guys some roll too. So I don't know if there's a perfect point in it. I think you just have to feel it out, and luckily I've been a part of this game for a long time to kind of feel other coaches do it while I was part of it. And I think it's time to do that. Let's pull it back and let guys go. And again, it gives you a better idea, because you might not see those guys, and they may have to go, and you don't have some game experience,
When you look back at the film, what kind of impressed you about Ricky White's play in his first game?
We'd seen some of the stuff, and obviously we've seen it as we recruited him, and we all did, not just me, you guys did too. That's why we're so excited about it. But I think what gets you excited is you saw it on a Saturday too. It wasn't like you saw it on Saturday somewhere else, and then you saw it out here in the practice field. You're like, okay, now I want to see it come alive when we're not out in the field. He doesn't know the script, and it's against somebody else who we got a pretty good feel what our defense can do, but this is a different defense, And so to see him naturally react to some of that stuff and how fast he picked up things, how fast he played, showed me number one, he knows the offense, because you want to see if guys play fast. He knows what he had to do. And then number two, does he have the game-breaking ability that we hope and we think we see? Well, it's pretty evident. That guy's pretty special. Sometimes he look like he's running. There's a lot of times I'm like, man, you got to run. I am running. I guess you got to really run. It was good to see him in the first game. Jeff too. To see Jeff out there doing what Jeff continued. It isn't a surprise to many of us though that we talk about is practice, performance, game reality. Like those guys go. We saw that in some of the practice. And if you do it like that in practice, it's hard to not do it in a game. If you don't do it in practice, it's hard to really crank it up. It's not a switch,
Coach,
Coach, first game, were you pleased with the tackling on defense?
I did. I thought they tackled. I thought that was one of the things that we had. I think maybe we've talked about in camp. That was one of the things that you're always worried about in the first game, right? I think and it's everywhere. It's in the NFL. It's at every level. It's the first game. Tackling, ball security, mental errors, and special teams. And you want to see where those where those came out. And it was good to see the tackling. There was some really good tackling circuit stuff we used this drill tape that showed up. I think Chris Williams, a new guy, had a great shoot tackle on the sideline on one, which is perfect for him. There was tackling in the backfield. We missed one on the zero coverage. We were out of control and then coming inside and excited. The quarterback was right in our lap and we kind of missed him. I thought the tackling was good. There wasn't a ton of them like, man, we needed to tackle. Or you look back on it sometimes, and I know, and I would have been, do you need to go live? Like, do you go hit your own bodies? How much do you go live in camp and beat yourself up to make sure you ensure live tackling? Well, balance is hard, and you're still not totally there on 3 years or 4 years of depth. So I'm excited about that. Now we're going to see an upgrade in talent, and we're going to see how that goes too. But tackling, I thought was good.
Coach, speaking of defense, the front seven was unbelievable. You had less than 50 yards rushing for them, and they really tried to keep doing that. But I think it was on like 39 attempts. But was there someone in particular that stood out to you in that front seven? Was it the line making a push? Was it linebacker still in the holes? I mean, can you talk about that a little bit?
No, and I don't mean to water it down. I think the thing that we wanted to see, because what had happened in let's just use last season or what happens at other places we've been at, is the front seven there's gap responsibility in a front to make run game stop. If one player comes out, then you lose gap control or you lose contain or you lose integrity of the defense. That's when the play happens. So it's never one guy. Hit maybe one guy in that gap, but the other guys have to do their job too. Everybody's got to do their own job. So what was really good to see the front, number one, the efficiency that they had and to stop the run, knowing they wanted to run the football. And then what we wanted to dictate and what we wanted to look like as a brand of defense, it was good to see that. It was good to see new guys go in and work together, Isaiah Sales, Darius Johnson, to see guys go in. Even when the other guys went in, when Fred went in and was flying around and had 10 tackles and was rolling. To see AJ, the way he pressured guys, to see Plant come off the edge, to see him play together in the front that was probably the most impressive, because the onesie twosie stuff, that looks good, but if it breaks down, if there's a breakdown later, you're like, well, what the one guy go, hey, I'm not having a good game. It can't work like that in the front. It's like the O-line. Like, one guy won't ever have just one great game usually. And, I was excited about the way they played, man. It was good to see. I hope they will continue to gel that way.
There's a little uptick in personnel and talent. Like you touched on that a little bit with Cal at the Pac-12 school, and you're going up there.
Yeah.
Is there a message you tell your teams to not get too comfortable? They feel like beating an FCS opponent and preparing for someone like a Pac-12 school.
A ton of respect for who you're playing all the time, and that school. And Justin's been there a long time. He's recruited to his traits and his organization for years now. They've got good talent, and our guys are going to know that. They're going to see it on film. You can't change the way you play to it. We got to play to that standard all the time. Like, then you go into this game, if there was 1 inch of anything I felt like they were playing because of who the logo and the helmet was, then we have completely abandoned everything we've talked about as a culture, because you can't just turn it on, turn it off. It doesn't work that way. You got to play to standards you're not going to play this game one way and then the championship game in the Mountain West another way. You're not going to play this game one way and then the Rose Bowl next. It doesn't work that way. And we've got a ton of respect for who we're playing. We know that's going to be a dang good football team. We know it's on the road. We know it's a Pac-12 opponent. We know they've been there for 4 or 5 years and recruiting their groups. Great. Good. But we're up for the challenge, and let's go. We got to do what we've got to do. The predicates to win are still going to be the same. We got to play good football. We got to tackle. We got to show up with good attitude. We got to be ready to get punched and counter punch, hold off a lead, whatever it may be. And all those things will usually play out. The scoreboard will take care of itself.
Coach, considering that even though it was an FCS opponent, 45-7 at halftime, you did what good teams are supposed to do against opponents that they're better at. Does this feel like a program-defining win that you officially turned the tables here, and we can expect more winning days ahead?
I'm gonna start at the end. We expect more winning days ahead, for sure. I don't think it's going to be. I don't like to view it as a program-defining win, because I think that we went out, we're improved. We've got an improved roster. We've recruited our tail off. We've tried to implement the best players we could to get here and to do what we need to do on all 3 phases. We've added coaches with value. we've stayed true to our process, and hopefully over the course of time you see better football, and that's what we've seen. I mentioned that one thing we tried to do, we tried to look back at last year and go and encapsulize the end of those games that were close and grab the real good, sweet parts of those wins and apply that nature of football to this next season and what we've got, and then keep the chip on our shoulder about what kept us from winning those games. And I think if there's anything to say about that win, it's that. It's our guys came out and played with a winning mindset, and I thought that there was a lot of things that were constructive coming out of that. And now we've got to make sure we keep our foot on the gas and keep stacking.
You brought up recruiting, and I know transfer portal has changed things in terms of recruiting high schools. Can you talk about in general how it's changed recruiting high school kids, not just locally but also nationally?
Well, I mean, we've talked about that endlessly. I mean, we talked about that when the rule first came out. Like all us coaches were talking about how the portal was going to change everything locally. I mean, everyone was worried about that. The scholastic model is now over. You know, it sucks. It just sucks for all those people. It's coaches, players. I mean, for us, and it's just everywhere in the country. It's free agency, and it sucks. It just is what it is. But we said that early on when we first did that rule. I think that we've done. My hat's off to our recruiting department and our coaches and our process of trying to make a better roster. And I think that we've been diligent in that. We've been really honest with that. By no stretch of the imagination would we believe that we'd turn down any talent. And I think that I will never want to sell this place short on anything, and especially recruiting anybody anywhere, and whether it's locally or it's away. I mean, that's our job, man. And I think that these guys, I'm proud of our roster and what it looks like right now. And I think we've got room to improve and room to continue to grow in this conference because there's really good football players in this conference. If we saw that, I mean, there is a lot of football players in this conference. There's a lot of good football players at this level. So it's exciting to see our guys that we've put into the program role. And I think that models, if it's not going to change, there's going to be, that's kind of the thing, that's the nature of the beast when it comes to now that portal and who's available and how many years they got left and how fast you need help, what you need help at, how they measure up in your conference, how they measure up in your non-conference games over a course of years. So it's a crazy world out there recruiting. I don't pretend to have figured it out. It's brand new to all of us, and we're just chipping away, man.
Your slot machine on the sidelines and the celebration got a lot of social media attention. So what do you think of that? And then also people saying, hey, that's too much celebration.
Wow.
Yeah, it's such a weird dynamic, right? It's like you want to be so aggressive and excited about your university and the passion you have and your marketing and your branding and all the stuff we all talk about because of you're trying to gain interest in recruits and donorship and enrollment and everything. And as soon as it gets to one piece, then they're like, it's too much. No way. I love it, man. I think it's awesome. I think it was ever Pro Football Hall of Fame retweeted it. I think someone showed me, and ESPN Sports on Sports Center. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think it's cool for our kids and recruiting at our school, our city. Do we have to do it within a certain parameters to make sure that it's the right way and it's got the right taste? Absolutely. By no stretch of imagination, we're trying to be untasteful. But man, come on, let these guys have fun, man. Let us all have fun. Let a place that's trying to do something special do something special. There's bigger problems we got in this world besides that. That's just my opinion. I think it's awesome. I think if everyone in the country could do it, they'd do it. So.
Was it your idea? Whose idea was that?
Yeah, so was our recruiting department, and my idea a couple of years ago. We were just trying to get creative. Like we were trying to do something for it was the turnover chain or the bat or the chainsaw at Oregon State or whether it's all the stuff that those places is exciting for those kids, And we just couldn't. I mean, I saw one team even popping bottles on the sideline, I think, last year, like fake champagne bottles, like bottle service. And we just there was a great relationship. I think you guys have read about it. I'm not going to go into it, but you guys read about it. There was a great relationship with a group in town, and I thought it was a cool deal. And if it's anything to promote our school and our brand and our football and our people and our city, fire up, man. Let's do it.
Harrison took a couple of sacks. Was that on him? Was it on the mix of ones and twos? Like, what did you see on those plays?
Without getting into scheme wise, there's a couple things that we could do different. Communication, personnel, changing of plays. There's a couple different nuances there that we could have done to probably not afford that. Could have happened at any level. Basically, we could have done something up here and changed that. We could have done something back here and changed that. And all within it, there's a way to fix both those. Like one was the breakdown and physical error. The other one was something had to be changed between the schematics, which we had the tools to do. Just had they all done the tools together, it was good. It was good to get.
Speaking of quarterbacks, was the plan all along for Doug to play the first half and then have those other guys come in? And
No.
the second part is, did you have any conversation with Cam or Harrison, after the game, letting them know, like, Doug's the guy, is it just something that was unspoken?
Oh no, we talked about it on Thursday actually,
Okay.
on how we were going to go about the rotation. What my plan was for going into Thursday practice. Thursday practice is a mental sweat where we get into truly a 100 play script where it's really the game plan, the situations, what we're going to run on the first third down, what we're running on the goal line, what we're going to run in 2 minute, what we're running 4 minute, what we're running in that's all the minutia of really how the game's going to go. 48 hours out, that's what we like to do. So we had a conversation about that on Thursday, and we have all the conversations. I've been in the room, coached the room, was in their cleats, was in their desk, was in their locker room, was in there everywhere as a player. Like there's nothing worse than surprises at quarterback. I can tell you that, just haven't done it. And so I like to be honest with those guys, and those guys know exactly where we're going every time. Talk to them in game, talk to them at halftime, I talk to them post game. If Doug was going to start, if we get all the guys to play, they're going to play. And that was the conversation. And it was fortunate we got them all in. It was good because I want to see them all. I want to see them all in the game.
Doug took a big step, but physically and mentally. He dropped some body fat down to 7%, added muscle, and then the mental side of it. You need to talk about that offseason and everything that entailed during that offseason from spring ball to now, and how much Doug has matured as a person, and how that's translated on the field and in the locker room.
Yeah, I mean, it's just in a nutshell, it's easy when you're 18 and a year of development in this world, especially at quarterback, is huge, man. 1 year from your rookie year in the NFL to your sophomore year, 1 year is your true freshman year, which I was a true freshman, I had coached two freshmen. I know the gains, the mental pace and how the game slows down with just the amount of reps you get. A lot of people don't know. There's give or take, there's 1,100 reps. We talk about this a lot. It sounds stupid, but there's 1,100 reps in a season, give or take, in a game. And so I always go back and figure out how can I put these small seasons together before we get to the season. Well, a small season in spring ball is about 1,200 reps if I can get it. That's 1,200 reps for a quarterback. That's how does the game, how can I play the game? So we kind of give these small seasons to these guys at the quarterback room. That's kind of what I like to do, to let them know, hey, how is this going to look like? And it kind of gives them the idea that they're playing more seasons than actually just one season waiting for the next one. Summer ball is 11 PLPs. It's whatever, a certain amount of plays. It's another 850 plays and PLPs that are scripted. They run by themselves. I'm like, that's another mini season. How did we do in the PLPs? Training camp is another 1,300 plays. There's another mini season in there, guys. Let's call those the 12 Saturdays. How do we do on those? So it's kind of a way to kind of get the quarterbacks ingrained to having these mini seasons to build them up, build their maturity. That's the football piece of it. And then you just get older and wiser, and you feel like the game slows down a little bit. He matured as a young man, obviously, in college. And I think it'll continue. I think that if there's anything I know experience in my past, is the experience it is irreplaceable, especially at quarterback. It really is.
Coach, speaking of quarterback, something cool that I thought you guys did was in victory formation, you put in Matthew Deeding.
Yeet!
Was that his reward for all of his hard work and effort out here?
Yeah. Man, that was awesome. And that was Coach Holtz reminded actually. He came in the locker room and said, hey, if we get to a certain point, could we get Deeding the victory formation? He's a walk-on guy. He signals for us. He does everything in the program. He'd do anything for us. Though there's a lot of players on our staff we remember. Like, you got to reward those things, man. So it was pretty cool to get him there.
How did you come out of the game health-wise, and can you get Naki Fahina ready for Cal in a couple weeks?
I hope so. Right now we're waiting for. He's got a doctor's appointment today. We got Monday's our off day, so we get all our doctors done today. So I'll have a report tonight on see what's going on. Tuesday we'll have a practice. We'll see what guys are. If I need to hold guys in the bye week an extra day or two, I will to get guys healthy. That's a preview I'm having to buy. I'm hoping we're 100%. If we're not, then it's unfortunate, but those things happen. I mean, they're all over the country, right?
Hey, Ricky, 8 receptions on 8 targets. Could you talk about your performance on Saturday?
Going into the game, we had a game plan. We just got going early, I could say. We prepared well the whole week of practice, and me and Doug had a connection going. Shout out to the O-line. Doug also, other receivers, getting me open. We play together as a team, and So we got everything going super fast. So that helped.
Ricky, coach said you guys got back here to the facility and already went outside and were catching balls and everything. Is that just kind of the work ethic the receiving corps has this year?
Oh yeah, most definitely. We don't never want to come complacent. We want to be consistent this whole year. Make a statement out of every game. I don't want to speak on things that we seen on social media, but we got a lot of things to prove. So we're gonna make sure we prove those to not only to ourselves, but people outside of the world. So we're gonna stay on top of those things.
Yeah, I think you were a little disappointed when the preseason Mountain West stuff came out, and you said none of your teammates were on that
Right.
list, but they were going to be at the end of the year.
Right.
It's a pretty good showing for week one, man. So what's your message to those people who didn't have any of you guys on there preseason?
That that we go work every day. Every game we go showcase. What we do, hard work. Is most definitely gonna pay off. So, that's all I'm really saying. That we coming. We put in a lot of work to showcase. What we do. So.
Ricky, talk about how each of you guys push each other in that room, because you all have a different skill set
Right.
from each other. And how important is it that you guys all complement each other, from you, Jeff, Kyle, Seneca, and the rest of the room?
Say it again, my fault. I'm sorry.
Well, like how do you complement each other? How you guys push each other in that room?
Daily we work hard. We first day I got here, we became close. All of us became really close. So, us being close and working hard, it plays a big factor in our games. And I say that we push each other every day so much. Outside of work, outside of practice. Even upstairs watching film and everything, we criticize each other. One of the biggest criticizing on each other. So we make sure that we work hard and just do whatever we need to do to better ourselves as a unit, really.
Ricky, what did you see on the 72-yarder? And when you talk about communication of a change in the play, I guess Coach Arroyo mentioned multiple times that Doug changed the play.
Yeah, so that play was really like, man to man on our side. So we got a check on that certain play is a win. And Doug gave me that signal, and we knew what it was after that. So
What do you think of the throw, and then what were you feeling as you caught it and the defender there?
it was a great throws by Doug, and I just wanted to make a play, so that's what I did. We continue to do these things every week.
Eliel, I think what gets lost with, when you score 52 points is how good the defense was. You guys were solid. The run defense particularly was really good. What did you see from the front seven, the defense as a whole, and how does it compare to years past since you're a senior?
I would say compared to years past, I think we just have a different mentality, especially like Rick said. A lot of the things that are said about the team, obviously, you gotta ignore it. And Coach Arroyo, he said, starve your distractions, but they're there, and it just adds to the chip on their shoulder. So yeah, as far as the front seven, I think everyone's just a lot more violent than we used to be, as far as like how we approach the game. And I'm not gonna repeat what we say in the locker room, but there's like a vengeance against everybody we play. So that's what I'll say.
Can you talk about the communication just on Saturday and just how much better it was on Saturday?
Yeah, it's a lot louder than it has been, and that's good because we're gonna need it. We have other games where we are playing in front of a lot of fans, so the communication has been better by the D line, the linebackers, and the back end.
And how have you just improved and grown under Hayward? How has he made you and the defense better?
Shoot. Honestly, I feel like it starts with him. The way he a violent individual himself. So, he's just very. I'm trying to find the word to describe him, but he's like on your back all the time. So, if there's something that's wrong, he's gonna weed it out. So I think that's what I think where it comes from.
On AJ's pick, you got to the quarterback and kind of disrupted him, you know, and said causing us to cause that throw. Can you walk us through what you've seen and how gratifying is that for you? Because I know, you know, going into camp, you were kind of unsure about your role.
Yeah, I think I was going through a lot mentally in the spring, and honestly, I felt like spring I played some of my worst football. But battling through it and then putting in work over the summer, uh, I earned my role back as a starter. And as far as AJ's pick, I talked to him on the sideline. Asked him if he liked the pressure. He said yeah. But um, what the main thing was running through my mind. I really wanted to tackle him, but you know, if that was a completion, that would have been roughing the passer or something. So I don't know. I just keep thinking about it though. I wish I had tackled him. AJ would have scored. AJ played running back, if y'all didn't know. But,
Yeah.
so that's where that stiff arm came from.
Coach Arroyo said that the plays that got him the most excited were some of the little things. Was there anything that he pointed out to you guys that also stood out, or any particular plays that got you guys excited? You know, small things, little things that might have flown under the radar to anyone watching? For both of you.
One of the plays that that he talked about was that play that Kyle had coming out of the backfield, catching that out, and the whole team pushing them into the end zone. That to me that defines us really. How our bond and the work that we put in all year, all spring, all fall camps, to get to where we're headed to. So, we're a family, so and that's gonna show every week.
For both of you guys, did you know going into the game that you were going to be playing on the Raiders grass field, and did that motivate you to kind of play like a Raider, play like a champion on Saturday?
Yeah, we did know, but we did play like ourselves. So
Me personally, and I feel like Rick would agree. I feel like it doesn't matter where I play. I'm a ball regardless.
And first day of school, you guys are student athletes. How are you guys getting into the rhythm of things? Having to deal with both classes and football at the same time. Going through the season.
Just make sure we on top of everything, as in schedule wise. Football and in the classroom.
Yeah, time management I feel like is important because we were just in camp and it was all football for a month, and now we're adding school to the mix. So definitely making sure we manage our time properly is going to matter.
Eliel, with the depth now that you have and the rotation of shuttling guys in and out, do you feel that you could come in and be fresh, off the bench, and you're getting the most now where guys aren't going to wear down late in the game because you have that depth and a rotation of sending guys in and out?
Yeah, no, I like the depth a lot, especially at D-line. We have a solid core of guys that, like I said, are violent. And once I leave the field, I know the job's going to get done too. There's not a huge drop-off. So I'm thankful for that. And that's credit to Coach Hayward, Coach Boje, and the defensive staff. They've been developing this over the summer and the spring.
So you're going back home today. How much family you got coming to the game, man?
I wouldn't say. I guess that's my second home. I went to junior college there,
Right.
so I do have. While I was there, one of my JUCO teammates, his name is Caleb. They housed me, so I think I was like in a 2 or 3 bedroom with like 15 guys. So they took me in. Yeah, no, that's not fun at all. But that's how JUCO is, though. It really is a struggle. So. The Martin family, they housed me and they took me in, and I was with them for I think 4 months, and then since then we've continued our friendship and all the love is there. So they're gonna be in the stands watching in the game.
Leo, the secondary was a little shaky to start that game. In the first few possessions, you guys gave up quite a few long pass plays. Was there anything that you or maybe some of the front seven said to those guys about just kind of not giving up those type of plays?
Yeah, and as a teammate, like we can't, especially during a game, that's not something that you want to harp on because there's a next play. But what was said really was we have a standard to uphold, and that's not our standard. And quickly, those guys they fell in line. They knew what we were talking about, and we moved forward. And that's just the nature of the game. Like, there's gonna be mistakes. So, uh, thank God we have a bye week this week. We're gonna take care of those mistakes and come out better.
Ricky, can you kind of talk about how the, relationship with you and Doug has kind of grown as you've gotten into this program that, kind of helped you had that big game, Saturday?
Yeah, we built a bond of chemistry, outside of football, as friends, brothers, and also on the field, putting in a lot of work after hours, coming in early mornings, late night, stuff like that. So those things are going to be like a key factor of us, having a great offense. Not with just me, but the rest of the, receivers, running backs, O-line, things like that.
Coach talked about, the practice field and seeing some, those big plays kind of develop in practice and then transition to the field. How do you guys make sure you guys continue to do that, those big plays on offense throughout the season?
Basically just stand on top of these things, knowing, each check downs and, coverages, stuff like that.
Rick, you had that big game against Michigan your freshman year, and then obviously last year was a little bit different. Coming up this year in the first half, you light it up. At any point in that game on the sideline, did you think, man, if this was a little bit closer, I'm gonna go. If I was back out there, I'm putting up some Madden numbers?
I wasn't really worried about that, I had a great first half, as you guys know, but it was time for my brothers to shine at that point. So I stayed on the sideline, and cheered them guys on, and rooted for them the whole time.
Question for both of you guys. How do you get prepared for a Pac-12 opponent like Cal? It's a little bit different than Idaho State or any kind of FCS school. No disrespect to them or anything, but just getting that jump in talent, competition, and personnel. How do you get ready for that?
Well, first and foremost, I'll just say that, I feel like we got to prepare for ourselves. We the ones that playing. So just staying on top of those things that, that the mistakes that we made last game, building off those mistakes and just keep building, keep stacking days, going out, practicing, competing against each other. That's what's going to make us better on both sides of the ball. So, you know, no discredit to Cal. They're a great team, but I feel like the only team that could beat us is ourselves. So.
Forrest Griffin, he came and talked to us during camp, and one thing he talked about was you only have to beat one man, or you only have to break one person, really. And I think individually you need to focus on your job, but also as a team, like, yeah, there's gonna be some things we need to pull strings together. But I think no matter what, this is another thing he said. No matter like the dip or the rise and how tough your opponent is going to be, you need to have your own standard for how you study film, how you practice, and I'm sure you guys have noticed the difference in how we practice. But yeah, you can't have a change in your standard of how you do things just because the opponent is bigger or smaller. You have to be so good at studying film, practicing again, that it doesn't matter who you face.
You talked about recognition earlier, but what do you need to see Doug you recognize as not only offensive player of the league?
Well, I'm very proud of him. Extremely proud of him. He put in a lot of work, watching film, going over coverage and stuff like that. So, to see him get the Player of the Week from Mountain West Conference is a great accomplishment for him. But like I said, we're on to the next week. Go keep stacking daily.
When did you know that he was going to be started?
I also find out 2 days before the game.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little time to prepare and everything for it.
Yes, sir.